Alright everybody, Marcus Hain back here. The course is Poker Strategy, how I make $5,000 plus per month playing cash games. Welcome back. This is section 2, which is still the fundamental concepts of poker. And this is the 4th lesson in this section, and this lesson is all about position. So to start off, what is position in poker? Position refers to the order in which the players are sitting around the table, and the position, just to keep in mind, changes every single hand. So as you can see from this chart up here, this is a very helpful chart. The people that are first to act, basically, so if you're the first person to act pre-flop, after you get your cards, you have to decide on whether calling, folding, or raising. You're considered under the gun, which is also known as early position. So the first 3 seats on a full 10-seater is considered under the gun. The next 3 to act are considered middle position. The following 2 after that are considered late position. And the very, very last 2 are the big blind and the small blind. So before we discuss how to play in position, here are 4 of the biggest reasons that you need to play in position. So number 1, when it's your turn to make a move, you're going to have more information than your opponents do. If you're the first person to act, you do not know what the rest of your opponents and players on the table are going to do, so you're really shooting in the dark. But if you're the last person to act, you know everything that the person before you has done. You know how many people have called, how many people have raised, and how many people have folded their hands. Number 2, position gives you something known as bluff equity, which basically means that you have simple, cheap, and effective opportunities to bluff. So if on the flop and the turn everyone before you checks, that's a pretty good sign that nobody really has something. So you do have some options for bluffing and getting some equity out of a pot. Number 3, acting last allows you to make far more accurate value bets. So when you're betting first, you're really just shooting in the dark because you don't know where your opponents stand. But if you're at the end or one of the last people to act, you have a much better idea of what your opponents are doing. So having last action gives you control over the pot size at the end of it all. So start off to discuss early position. So this is the worst position to be in, and this refers to the players to the 3 seats to the left of the dealer. These guys are the ones that are said to be sitting in early position. So you're going to have to act first without knowing what everyone else is going to be doing. And since you have to decide to fold, call, or raise without getting information on other players, you should only be playing the best hands. And later on in this course, I'm going to talk about what hands to play in early position, what hands to play in middle position, what hands to play in late position. So do not worry, just keep in mind about position, understand position, the concept of it, and how it works, and I'll definitely fill you guys in terms of how to play your hands specifically based on position. Middle position. So these are the players who are in the middle, so they aren't in late position and they aren't in early position. So you really get to see how poker players in the early position have decided to play their hands before you make a move when you're in middle position. However, you still have the other half of the table to follow, so you still want to be rather careful. You can play a bit looser in middle position than you would typically in the earlier position, but you still want to be fairly cautious because you do have half the table still left to act after you. Late position. So the best position to be in is in late position, which is known as the dealer button, and the players to the right of them. So being in late position gives you the information on how the hand is going, and you've seen what the majority of the table has done before you have to make your move. So if nobody has bet or increased the pot, the players in the late position might win the pot by increasing the pot, betting in a larger amount, or whatever the case is, and you can typically be a lot more aggressive in late position based on what your players and opponents have done before this position. Lastly, the dealer button. So the dealer button is known as the best position to have on the table. Aside from the pre-flop rotation, you're the third to last player to act, but after that, on the flops, turns, and rivers, the player sitting at the dealer button always gets to act last, which is an amazing thing. So this is the most desirable position to be in because you're going to be the last to act in each of the rounds of betting from the flop onwards. So it's very desirable, and it gives you the ability to really get good bluffs in, and if you do make a hand, you have all the position and all the advantages necessary to successfully get a profitable pot out of these situations. So that's it for this section on position. I'll see you guys in the next one.